Hello everyone and happy Valentine's Day. Today I made a tutorial just for you because I love you. Now, you hear my cheery voice? I'm excited. This tutorial actually took me no time at all to create, film. The editing process has not been done yet, but even making it didn't take that long. So if you have some time today or this weekend, you can make yourself one, and it's like you're wearing a little Cinnamon Stitches hug around your neck. It's my Valentine's Day gift to you. That way I can give you all some love that you guys create yourself, obviously. But now it's this beautiful little, I don't know what to call it, a cowl, a scarf. We're gonna call it a hug. Okay, we're gonna call it a hug for a couple reasons. Now, there's probably strings hanging out. Oh, that's my rubber band. I got pigtails in like Pippi Longstocking today. And it also matches my headband, which I didn't realize. Now this yarn, you can't replicate this exact colorway. This is yarn that I made myself. I didn't spin it. This is yarn, do you remember from Joann's? I made that, I bought that one really thick rope like yarn. It was like the Lollipop Twisty or something. And I didn't like it, and I don't know where it's at. I made a hat out of it and I put fur on it. You guys remember? And it was real pretty. And I was like, I wonder if I split the yarn, what would happen? So I split the yarn. It's 6 strands. I made it 3 strands. So this yarn and this colorway cannot actually be replicated unless you go and buy the twisty yarn, and then I don't recommend doing it because it's a lot of work and it's not worth the effort. But I also started a second one for the tutorial, which is Big Party Twist. And I also give you ideas in the tutorial for different yarns you could use. So this is the beginning of the next one that you will see in the tutorial. This pattern is it's 2 rows to set it up, and then a 1 row repeat, and then end it in a half double crochet row, although I ran out of yarn so I had to do a single crochet on this one. But you can make this with any yarn. Any yarn, any size yarn. I just give you, and actually I'm gonna be real honest, you're gonna see in the tutorial I didn't count my stitches and it worked just fine. If you're one of those people that really need to count stitches, it's a multiple of 3, because the kiss stitch is what we're calling it, which is kisses and hugs, which is the X stitch, is that's wash it as really bright, is just a 1 row repeat, and it's a double crochet in the loop behind it, chain 1. I explain all that. It's not difficult. It's really pretty. It's got a really beautiful stitch to it, and it almost looks like 3D, but it also looks like X's and O's. Well, to me it does. It's looking different on camera than it looks in person. Hang on, let's stretch it out. How do you see the X's and O's, kinda, maybe? It's still a Hugs and Kisses cowl. What we're gonna call it. Isn't that pretty? It has amazing, like, the stitch looks beautiful. Maybe this one will look better. There, that one looks a little better. So I'm gonna finish this one probably tonight. But I wanted to make this. It's a very simple tutorial. Like I said, you can use any yarn, any thickness, from fingering weight to worsted weight. You could probably use bulky weight because this is on the bulkier side. Even though it's 3 strands, it's still kind of thick. I used a 7mm hook with this yarn. This one I'm using a 6mm hook and a skinnier yarn because the Big Twist Party is a 4, but it just works up thinner. They're the same thickness. So you can use 7mm, you can use a 6mm, it will give you a different effect, it will give you a different amount of drape. And I'm going to tell you all this in the tutorial, so don't worry about it. If you look at your label and it says that it recommends a 5.5mm hook, I went up to a 6. It's as simple as that. So you need some beautiful yarn, and you can grab it from the back of the closet, the back of your bookshelves, the bottom of your buckets, some yarn you just bought, doesn't matter. And it can be any weight. You can use acrylic, you can use hand-dyed wools, you can use whatever you want to be hugged on around your neck. That looks really pretty, don't it? And you can make it any width that you want. You can make it any length that you want. You can make it real short and make it just a cowl that goes real close around your neck when you're cold outside, because it's still winter everywhere. You can make it like that. You can, like I said, you can make it shorter. I tell you how to do all that in the tutorial. I kind of like this. You can make it real long to where you could double it, but I didn't do that, so we're not going to do that. And like I said, you can use any yarn. I don't recommend self-striping. This, when it's like kind of blends together, is perfect. The vortex yarn would be fantastic for it. I'm repeating all this in the tutorial. The new Party yarn, or that's Jelly Bean. Party. Spun colors from Premier Yarns would be fantastic. I can think of 800 yarns from Joann's that would be beautiful. And since a lot of you panic buyed, you have some, so go use it. And make yourself a cute little hug for your neck. And I want to see it in different weights. I want to see it in different colors. I want to see your interpretation on a hug from Cinnamon Stitches. So enough talking, enough jabbering. Let's get on to the very quick tutorial. This shouldn't take you very long to make, and it shouldn't take you very long to grasp the concept of this. And show me your work when you're done. Let's go to the table. Alright, to get started, you're going to use whatever pretty yarn you want to use for this. Alright, I'm using the Big Twist Party because this was on my Valentine's Day shelf, which is the shelf of yarn that is usually behind me, that is decorated for different holidays with different colored yarns. Okay, so I think we're just going to need one ball. I am halfway through the design process, and this is pretty much for the most part. We do 2 setup rows, and then it's a 1 row repeat until the end. And then it's going to be a really easy, simple, quick workup. You can use whatever yarn you want. Doesn't have to be a 4-weight. Doesn't have to be acrylic. Whatever pretty yarn you have, I am going to give you the stitch count, the stitch multiple. I am going to show you how to do the stitch. Yarn barf. This is, like, did I tell you this is Big Twist Party in the color Cherry Blossom, which is fitting because I live just south of Washington, D.C., where we have the giant Cherry Blossom Festival that, if you've never seen the cherry blossoms in full bloom in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, put it on your bucket list. It's really beautiful, specifically at sunrise, when all the photographers are out there taking 8,000 pictures. Because I was one of them. Alright, so I'm just trying to unbarf my yarn. Sometimes that's hard to do. Alright, now, whatever hook size you decide to use is based on what this label right here is going to say. So when you look at gauge, the gauge says 5.5 millimeter hook. Wow, can we even see that? Hello? There we go. Focus canceled. 5.5 millimeter hook. What I like to do when I'm doing something like this, I want a little bit of drape. I went up a hook size to a 6 millimeter. Why are we blurry? There we go. I don't know what is going on with the focus on this camera, but hopefully this works for it. It's in the wrong mode. Oh my gosh, it's tangling. You know, Cinnamon Stitches cannot just have an easy time with a tutorial. But look at this. We have created a knot. Houston, we've got a problem. Alright, I fixed it. Did I? Because I just felt there's another knot right there. Oh, the yarn is twisting. It'll be fine. It'll work out. Alright. First thing you do, pick whatever yarn you want. It could be fingering. It could. I don't think I would do bulky for this. I think the highest I would do is probably a 4-weight, which is what we're working with. But anywhere in between that, I mean, if you absolutely wanted to do a bulky, you could do that. Just get the hook that is appropriate for the yarn. Like I said, I went up a hook size, so this is a 6 millimeter or a J hook. We are going to start with a very simple slip knot, which goes like this. Boop, it's that easy. Alright, now we're going to do the foundation single crochet that I love. that you may or may not of. Why is the focus off? Someone has been messing with my settings. Testing my settings. Alright, that looks a little better. We're going to do, I apologize, I think someone was touching my camera that wasn't supposed to. We're going to start with a foundation single crochet. And this is going to be a multiple of 3. I'm making another one that I'm designing with. I did not actually do a stitch count. I just chained until I felt it was the proper length. So if you are that type of crocheter and you like to live on the wild side, we can fudge this. But if you're one of those people that absolutely have to have a multiple of 3, okay? So you chain in, or you make these in sets of 3 until it is the length that you want. Or you pick a really high number that, like, oh, 60 is a multiple of 3. Because if it's easily divisible by 3, it's a multiple of 3. So we're going to chain 3. I'm showing you how to do the foundation single crochet. You go into that very first stitch. You pull up a loop. Okay? This is how you make a foundation single crochet. You act like that's a chain 1, and then you act like these next 2 are a single crochet. It's that easy. And then you look at this piece right here, and you want to go in down through here. I'm going to go real slow for you. There should be 2 pieces of the stitch on your hook. Okay? And you're going to pull through both of those. Then you're going to chain 1. That's the chain section of the stitch. This is like making a chain row and a single crochet on top of it, all simultaneously. And then you single crochet, so you take those 2 off. I'm going to show you one more time. So see, this is the stitches we just went through, this and this right here. But over here is kind of like a V. Okay, can you see that? You want to go underneath both of those. And this bottom part actually has 3 sections to it. So there's the 2 that should be on top, and then there should be a strap on the bottom. Okay, can you see that? And then you chain 1, which I clearly split it. No, that wasn't a chain 1. That was not the chain 1. You pull through that. Then you chain 1. Then you single crochet. And then you go back through right here. And this, the hardest part of this is stitch recognition. Chain 1. Single crochet. Okay. I've shown this in many tutorials. Recognizing where you're supposed to poke the hole at. Stick your stick in. Is the hardest part of the stitch. Chain, single crochet. Okay, so we're going to do this until it is a length that you want. Your scarf can be as long or as close to your neck as you want. If you want it to be more like a cowl, make your chains, your starting, this is, we're calling this our chain, our starting row, make it much less. Just do this until you feel like when you wrap it around your neck, it is a good length that you would like your scarf or your cowl or your whatever you want to call this thing, that it would lay on your body. If you want it just closer on your neck, wrap this around your neck. Pretend this is your neck. Wrap it around, and when it fits to where it would hang nice on your neck, go move on to the next row. If you want it to hang down to your bosom, chain this until it is the length that when it connects here and hangs down, we're going to pretend this is your head, this is your bosom, to where it hangs down where you want it. If you want it real long so that you can fold it and wrap it around your neck twice, you can do that. This is going to be one of those things where you can customize it and no 2 are going to look alike. Because we're going to use fat yarn, skinny yarn, medium yarn. We're going to use different colors. We're going to make them different lengths, different widths. Because I'm going to give you the start. And I'm going to give you a really easy way to make this and customize it, and you're going to make it to fit your needs in your body. Now I am just going to continue this foundation single crochet, and if you still haven't got it and I speed it up and you're getting panicked, just rewind it and watch it as many times as you need to. It is okay if you don't get it at first. I struggled with learning this for a little bit. I really had to think. And I also could not put this down halfway through and finish the foundation single crochet later because I couldn't figure out where the stitches were supposed to go once I sat it down and walked away. So keep those, see, and now I can't even tell where I was at. Pull that back. All right, we hadn't done the chain yet. So, and if you absolutely hate doing this and you don't like foundation single crochet, you can do a chain row and a single crochet row and it will end up exactly the same. I just like doing this as a building block. I like the way it looks. I like that it makes me feel like I'm only doing one row, but 2 rows are appearing. But I like the way it looks. I think it looks nicer than a chain row does. Because sometimes a chain row can be like kind of loose and kind of fat and kind of like, you know, uneven. So I like this because it provides a more uniform look to the chain row. So I'm going to make this, I don't know, I want to say just down to my bosom. I'm going to make it about that long. And you're going to want to, if you're one of those people that need to count and make sure it's a multiple of 3. And if it's not, add 3, add 6, add 9, add 12. Any of the multiples of 3, just add it. 21. Until it's the length that you want it to be. And then come back here and I will show you the next row is a setup row. And then the next row after that, guess what? Not a setup row anymore. It's the repeating row that we repeat until we feel that it's wide enough for us. And then we're going to put the last row on. It's going to be real easy. It's going to be one of those things that's kind of mindless and relaxing, and you can listen to your favorite TV show while you're making this. You can remember how much Cinnamon Stitches loves and cares about you today making this. Because, you know, making this for a Valentine's Day gift for all of you. And I will be back in a second for you. But for me, it's probably going to be like 15 minutes. Alright, I'm back. I have chained, well, chained less. We did the foundation of about 40 inches. It's about 40 inches for mine. Like I said, you can make yours short or long. Now, the main problem I had last night is I could not get this to lay flat. And I kept twisting it. So I need to make sure that this is all facing the same direction. Okay, so because this is long, it wants to curl on itself. And when you connect this part of your hook should be on the top. Like if you're laying them facing each other, your hoop should be coming out of the top part facing this way, and the knot that you knotted, the first one should be facing downward, and make sure there's not a twist. Otherwise you'll have one of those scarves that twist. And if you want a scarf that twists, you can do that. It's your scarf, but that's not why I designed it to be. So we're going to go back into this bottom part like we're going to make the same stitch again. But instead, we're going to go in where the knot is, where we created the first part. That's our first stitch right there. So we're going to go in there. You're going to pull through both of those stitches, and you should have 2 loops on your hook. And then you're going to go into this top stitch up here and pull through both of those stitches. And that is how you connect that. Now, what I like to do, just for extra, just to smooth this part out, because sometimes there's a little bump there, is I take my tail and I move it over to the first stitch and I do a slip stitch. Well, that's not actually a slip stitch, you know, like you're sealing it off, just to tie that together a little better. Alright, now we're getting started. This is our setup row. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're in double crochet backwards. Don't get scared. We're going to go to the previous stitch, which is over here. We're going to wrap like we're doing a double crochet, and we're going to go backwards into that hook or the loop behind the stitch we just created and double crochet. This is going to make like an X. So I was thinking like X's and O's, kisses and hugs. So now we're going to chain 1, okay, and we are going to skip. See, this stitch is worked into. We're going to skip 1, 2, and in the third we're going to put a double crochet, boop, boop, and then we're going to double crochet backwards, okay? So we're going to wrap like we're double crocheting, and we're going to go to the stitch just behind that. Double crochet. Now you're going to chain 1, and you're going to do this all the way around, okay? So if you got to pull your stitches apart and see that, oh, this stitch is worked into, skip 1, 2, and in the third, we're going to put a double crochet. Don't forget to chain 1 in between these, okay? Then we're going to wrap our yarn to double crochet in the stitch just behind it. Then we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to skip 1, 2, and in the third, put a double crochet. Wrap, go into the stitch directly behind it, put a double crochet, chain 1. That's what it will look like. See how it's kind of X's and O's? X's and O's, they haunt me. Alright, now skip 1, skip 2, and in the third, put a double crochet. Put a double crochet in the stitch directly behind it. Chain 1. Untangle our yarn from the yarn swift that's laying on my desk. Skip 1, 2, go into the third, double crochet. Double crochet into the stitch directly behind it. Chain 1. Skip 2, and in the third, put a double crochet. Double crochet in the stitch directly behind it. Alright, I'm going to give you a close-up. Chain 1. I'll give you a severe close-up so we can see. Alright, so this stitch is worked into. See how it's pulling to the side? Skip 1, skip 2, and in the third, double crochet. And listen to my son run down the stairs like he's an elephant. And in the stitch directly behind it, so this is the one we worked into, the stitch directly behind it. Wait a minute. Yeah, that one. This one's worked into. There should be a blank space there. One right behind it, double crochet. Okay? That's for you newbies that have never done the stitch before and you're like, what are you talking about? See? And it will give you an X. Chain 1, skip 1, 2, in the third, double crochet. Double crochet into the one right behind it. Chain 1. Alright, continue this around. Now, because I did not count my stitches, when I get to the end, if I am 1 or 2 stitches off, we're going to fudge it and we're going to pretend we didn't see that, because that's how Cinema Stitches rolls, because I did not count. And it's okay if you didn't count, it's okay if you did count. There are no rights and wrongs in crochet, contrary to many's belief. That's how we roll in Cinema Stitches. Get it? Because we're cinnamon buns and we roll. Alright, I will continue making X's. I will meet you at the end of the row. This is going to be kind of a short tutorial because all I have to do is show you how to make the next row, which is really easy. And then you guys go until you want it to be, like, we're going to go until it's the width we want it to be. If you want it to be a real thin little scarf, do 5 rows. If you want it to be real thick, do 15 rows, do 20 rows. Doesn't matter to me. I'm making one in the other room that I already started with a totally different yarn. And I want that one to be thick. And I haven't decided what I want this one to be yet. It's all going to be a matter of how I feel after I finish the first one. Because I get bored making the same thing twice. And that's just real talk. But that's why I came in here and started this one before I finished the other one. So you're actually going to see a swap out at some point. Because I'm going to show you how to do the second row on this. And then I'm going to go work on the one that's already half done. And then when we come back, we're going to have some pretty neon colorways. And it'll be exactly the same. We'll just have different yarn and a different hook. And I will show you how to end it. I like this party yarn. Pardon Scarlett, she's so disrespectful. That on-air sign means nothing to her. What was I going to say? Oh, I like the way this yarn shifts color. The other yarn I'm using is a yarn that I made. So it shifts color too, but not as smooth as this one does. Alright, I'll be back at the end of the row. I'm going to go silence my dog. Alright, I made it to the end. Now, You see, I only have kind of 3.5 stitches there, but we're just I'm gonna fudge it. Okay, so I'm gonna skip my 2 stitches like I normally would. I am going to, and actually it kind of works out because this extra stitch can act as the chain stitch between these two, so I guess it kind of works out. So I skipped my 2 stitches, and in the third put my double crochet. In the back stitch I put my, we're calling it a backwards double crochet, chain 1, skip this stitch that's not really a stitch, and then I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to slip stitch in the first double crochet that was made, not the one that crosses this way, but the one that goes down this way. I'm going to slip stitch to that to join. Now this row is going to be the repeat row that you repeat until this is as wide as you want it to be. And like I said, if you did like 4 rows, it would be a typical scarf width, 5-6 inches maybe. If you do much more, it will be a much thicker, and that's what I'm going for, is thicker. Okay, and so it's funny because it looks much smaller folded in half than it did laid across my table, but this also has a lot of stretch in this yarn. Like I said, my dogs have no respect. I'm sure there's somebody walking their dog because the sun is shining today, and the audacity. Alright, I'm going to talk closer to the camera. When you slip stitch into that, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And I know this is going to seem weird and you're not going to understand why, but trust me, there is a method to this. We're going to skip this chain space here, and in the top of this crossed over double crochet, that's where we are going to do our backwards double crochet, is over here. Okay, and then we are going to chain 1. So that's going to give us a staggered, the X's are going to be staggered. So the X's will be formed across the holes of the previous row. So like I was saying, because my battery just died, you're going to have the X's over the top of the holes of the previous row. So we already got our first X. And the first one's always going to look a little weird until we put our final stitches in. Alright, I chained 1 already. Now we're going to skip all of this and we're going to go over to this X. And you see there's already a hole there waiting for us. So we're just going to put our double crochet in that. Double crochet. And then we're going to do our backwards double crochet all the way over here in the slanted double crochet. Okay. Don't forget to chain 1. There's our second stitch. See? Then we're going to skip all the way over here to this X. So we're going to skip over this X. Go to this X. See, there's a hole there waiting for us. We're going to put our double crochet there. Double crochet. And then our backwards double crochet goes back in this X we just skipped over in the top. And then we're going to chain 1. So, if you look, I'm going to actually bring it real close to you. Really, really close so you can see. So see the body of the X is, we have this X that goes that way, and the X that's behind. Yeah, that's behind there. Okay. When we do the X's, we're going to put the X, the first double crochet over here. See that hole? And don't be afraid to pull on your yarn. See? If you grab that center part and you pull it, you'll see where you're supposed to stick your first double crochet. Boop, and a boop, and a boop, and a boop. Alright, now, and if you go back to this one, see, look at it, opened up for you. It's ready for you. It's ready to receive the second double crochet. See that? We'll go backwards into that one. Don't forget your chain 1s. I forgot a bunch of chain 1s in the one I'm working on, so that one's not going to be perfect at all, but none of my work is. I don't strive for perfection, I strive for beauty. And we're just going to continue this all the way around, and we're going to continue this row until you feel like it's wide enough. And then we're going to come back here, and I'm going to show you how to finish it off, which is really, really simple. It's just going to be half double crochets. So if you already know how to do that, you can finish it. You don't even have to watch the rest of this tutorial. Because what I'm going to do, and you have to remember, when you come back to do the half double crochet row, let's say we're done, all the way done. Each one of these X's, you have an X, or a stitch, and the space here. So for every X, you're going to need 3 half double crochets. If you know how to do that, you don't need to watch the rest of this tutorial. If you don't know how to do that, come back and we'll finish it together. But yeah, it's that simple. It's just repeating the X stitch over and over again. And I think this is going to be absolutely beautiful. And this yarn is really delightful to work with. I was thinking some good yarns in case you're like, oh, I have no idea what yarn to use. Okay? I'm all for reaching in the back of your cupboards and the bottom of your buckets. The Big Twist Party yarn is excellent for this. The Big Twist Vortex would be phenomenal. The Big Twist Jelly Bean, which has plastic stuck to it, would be beautiful. Premier Yarns Spun Colors would be gorgeous. I have some, but they're in a bucket. Trying to think of what other yarns you could use. I mean, hand-dyed. This would be beautiful for a hand-dyed yarn. So if you have bougie fancy yarn, this would be beautiful. It's a good way to show off the yarn. It's a good way to show off coloring of hand-dyed yarn. I was actually going to come in here and use hand-dyed yarn for the tutorial, but I was like, no, better not. Because, you know, and it could all be one color. This would be beautiful in white. It would be beautiful in just pink. Actually, it would be beautiful in any color, but I'm thinking Valentine's Day today. And, what else? One of these color shifting yarns, it looks cool in. It looks cool in. I wouldn't do a self-striping yarn. I mean, you could. If you want to do self-striping yarn, you do it. I'm not telling you how to do your project. I think it would be okay, but if you had like hard breaks in the color, it's going to draw your eye to the hard breaks in the color instead of the pretty stitches that we're working on. So that's the one reason I probably would not use a self-striping yarn. So, like I said, you know what? I'm going to show you how to end this row, because I didn't show you that yet. It's exactly the same as the last row. We're going to end the X's where we're going to connect them together. We're going to start the next row exactly like we started this row, where you're just going to chain 3. Because when you end the row, it will be in between the X's. So you'll do exactly the same as we did on the last row. But I'll show you that, because I don't want nobody to get confused. But I will pause so this video is not too long. I'll finish out the row. I'll show you how to connect them here. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Alright. So we're at the end. We're putting our last X in. Well, don't forget your chain 1 here. Get that first double crochet right there. Oh, if I can get in there. Well, we'll just put it in sideways, it'll be fine. Slip stitch. And then chain 3, 2, 3. Right? And then go backwards to that last stitch we made. The last double crochet we made, I should say. Make your X, single crochet, continue on with the pattern. And that's all there is to this. It's a 1 row repeat. Once you get the setup row done, it's pretty easy. It's a lot of fun. It's relaxing. It's not stressful because it's really just chains and double crochets and oh, I banged you. I banged you with my wild finger. Chain 1. Continue on. I made that stitch too loopy. It was too big. It was too baggy. And then I banged the camera again. My wild flying fingers. Alright guys, I will be back on the very last row. It will be a different colored garment because it's one that's halfway done already. And it will be a different size, and it will be a different hook, and it will be different lots of things. And it will be fine. It's still the same exact project. It's just, you know. And I will show you how to end this. It's really not that difficult. Actually, I can show you right now. Okay, pretend. We'll just back that up. It's a big fine woman, won't you back that thing up? Kind of big daddy. Alright, so we're going to get to the end. This is our last row. We have chained however thick we want it to be. 10 rows, 15, 20 rows, it doesn't matter. Depends on how much yarn you have. If you start getting low on the yarn, you're going to want to end it if you don't have any more of that kind of yarn, okay? We're going to chain 1 Pretend this is our last row, all right? And in the top of the stitch we just came out of, we're gonna put a half double crochet, because a half double crochet is about the same height as this foundation row we made. And we're gonna every stitch, so for every X you should have a double crochet in the first half, a double crochet in the second half, and then go in the center where that chain space is and half double crochet. And then for every X we're gonna go half double, double, or half double in the center. So for every X you should have 3 half doubles. Half double in the first double crochet that's in the back, half double in the backwards double crochet that's across the front, half double in that chain. And then when you get all the way around to the end here, slip stitch to join, cut it off, weave it in. This is kind of what your pattern will look like. You will probably see both of them in the intro that I have not filmed yet. But yeah, so this is my little Valentine's Day gift for you. Something for us to do together. A beautiful little cowl, neck warmer, eternity, what is that, an infinity scarf, anything you want to call it like that. It's just for us to wear around our neck. It's kind of like a hug from me to you. Put it on your neck and Cinnamon Stitches give me a hug. Okay? I love you guys. If you make this, I want to see it. You can post in the community tab now of my page. I don't know if you know that. They allow pictures and posts. You just have to click on my name. So where you see the video, it says Cinnamon Stitches in my little picture. If you click on that, it will take you to my home page. And on the home page, there is all these little tabs that you can click. And one of them says posts. It used to say community. And only I could post in the community, which is really ironic, okay? When it was community, only I could post. But now that it says posts, all of us can post in there. And you can post pictures in there. And other people can see your work. Or you can go over to the Facebook group and we can still share privately there because it is a private group. You have to answer the questions to get into that group. But either place you can share. You can also share on Instagram. But now I'm really thinking that the community is the best place to do it. So either in the Facebook group or in the post tab that used to be community tab on my page. Yeah, you can post pictures there. How cool is that? And show me your work. I want to see you if you made one of these. And I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what yarn you used. I want to see what colors you picked. And tell the details. Say, hey, I made it with a 6mm hook. Or somebody else, like mine in the living room is a little bit thicker yarn. So I'm using a 7mm hook, for example. And I will show you both of those. And thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Happy Valentine's Day to you. And I will see you in the next one.